Hey you guys, today we're going to be talking about Escape Room Tournament of Champions. It's the new horror action thriller movie coming out this weekend, and it is directed by Adam Robitel and also the sequel to the 2019 movie by the same director. I got the chance of seeing this movie last week at an early screening and I had a really fun time. It's really fun theater experience for any sort of suspense horror fan. And despite this being the sequel to the last one, I had a good riveting time with a fresh new story, and it does bring back some elements and some new ones as well. It takes place a little bit after the first one with the main character Zoe and Ben, her friend, that have escaped all of the rooms from the first one. And they're trying to track down this corporation, Amino, something like that, a supposed location in New York where their headquarters are. Zoe's going to therapy and she still has a lot of trauma from the events, losing all of her friends, and yeah, her therapist doesn't quite believe her still of an escape room that kills people, and she's focused more on Zoe trying to get over her fear of going on planes. Because when Zoe was a kid, her mom had a plane crash and she lost her. She tells her therapist that the only way that she can actually get over that fear and get on a plane is if she takes down the corporation that killed her friends. So she decides to take a road trip to New York with Ben. He agrees, they both go off together after a couple times of her trying to ride a plane and her just not having it. Can't go on it at all. So they get there and they find an abandoned warehouse that confuses them because they're like, where is everything? Seems like everything is totally just gone. So they get tricked by a guy that tells them that they can get them in and pickpockets her, takes a piece of jewelry that her mom actually gave her. They chase him through the city and into a subway. When she gets on the subway, she's locked in with Ben and the person escapes. Eventually, they keep going a little too long. They start to suspect it's kind of weird that they're not stopping. And she looks out and sees that the actual tracks divide and their one little bus goes to a whole different place than the rest of the train. It stops. They're in this desolate place underground and they're stuck with other people too. The little narration comes up and it is the same people, the Amino Corp. And they find out that the other people in the bus actually have been in the same types of escape rooms and had their friends also killed. Now I want to talk to things that I actually liked about the movie. One thing was the new rooms that they have. They're all really laid out really well, and the different settings in each one were really intriguing. and fun to see all of them try to get out of them. One in particular that I liked a lot was a beach. The characters have to figure out a big puzzle to get out of this room that just seems like a beach, while the sand suddenly starts sucking them up and everything else in the actual room as well. Things that could potentially help them out to escape the room. Another one that I liked was this kind of Art Deco type bank. It's underground, which I wondered right away, how could they get an entire bank, or just like make something that looks like a real bank all the way underground? It looks exactly like a bank. It looks like a really fancy type deco style, and they have to get through this really high security system and avoid being burned by laser beams that actually leads to the way out. It kept me on edge the whole time. That's another thing I really liked about it. I felt anxious, like I was rooting for them to get out, and although it was only like barely an hour and a half, right from the point where Zoe and Ben actually get to the place, it kept you interested the whole time. There wasn't at any point where you felt bored. The characters were more smart too. That was another thing that I'd like to point out. It wasn't like the first one and other movies kind of similar, where people have to get out of a certain situation that could mean them dying. In the first one, I noticed there was a couple people that kind of freaked out and made poor decisions, and you just kind of look at them like, well, that's just dumb. You could have done this, but you just decided to that, and you just basically messed it all up for yourself. The people in here were actually more smart because they have been in the same situation before. And also the leads, Zoe and Ben, they had a very good like actor chemistry going on. And because the first one where you see Zoe actually meeting him and them having to go through all of this crazy things, like seeing their friends die and kind of developing that friendship, it was fun to see them again and rooting for them. Now, the things that I did not like about this movie were, one thing was there wasn't any character development at all for all of them, or background either. You kind of just see all these people that, yeah, they've been in the similar situations before, but they don't expand on it. And I mean, they're all different kind of people, and we also don't really get anything about like what's their background, where did they come from, like what kind of person are they. There's like one scene where they're all sitting together, and I think Zoe's trying to get them all to share that, and they're just freaking out. So you don't get any kind of information at all, which it could have been a potentially interesting part, but it wasn't. And there's one guy in the beginning where we kind of learned that like he got like this big scrape on his face because of a room that he went through before, and that's about it. Like that's the most we really learn. And another girl can't feel pain because she has some kind of thing where like heat or things just don't phase her at all. The acting wasn't really that great too. Like, I mean, Zoe and Ben's were fine, but I mean, it was a little cheesy if you kind of notice. They're all pretty much new into the acting kind of career. If you really pay attention, like if you just go for main reason to see a movie, then you won't notice it. But yeah. Also, there are a couple poor decisions that they make. One, I mean, I won't go too into it, but one is there's some electricity that is going through a bus, and a couple of them don't really think that touching metal while there's like currents of electricity going by can be potentially really dangerous. And I also lastly think that if they could have made all of the characters have different kind of like traits that made them stand out from the others, it would have been nice to kind of see that, and it would really make all of them really likable. Overall, this film was pretty fun. I liked it quite a bit, and I think that if you're a fan of the genre, horror, action, thriller, and just like to see people try to escape certain situations, you'll have a great time seeing it. I won't say anything, but the ending did shock me and also brings a possibility for a third movie, so I think there will be. I think I'll have to give this movie a B- overall. And yeah, this movie comes out this weekend, the 16th of July. I hope you guys have a good time going to see it. Make sure to like and also subscribe, because I think I'm possibly going to be making more reviews in the future. Thank you.